Mamas, if you are into environmentally friendly stuff, this is for you. So today I want to chit chat with you about some hacks and stuff that I have been using since my babies were born to try to cut down on waste. Hi, I'm Devin, and I am a yoga teacher and a mom, and I care about the environment, and I hope you do too. When I first had my daughter, she had to spend like one day in the NICU, and I totally get why this has to happen, but everything they gave me had to be thrown out like if I wasn't taking it home, basically. So she had to be on formula while my milk was coming in, and when she finished, so it was like a bottle, like a plastic little bottle, and then the nipple, and when she finished, they just threw out like the nipple and the bottle and everything. And like I said, I totally get it because you're in a hospital and you have to make sure everything is super sterile, especially in a NICU. But I was like, oh, even the nipple? Like, oh my God, that's what a waste. So when I had my son, he had to spend 5 days in the UV light because he had what I call super jaundice. So I just all the nipples they gave me, I just kept them and put them in my hospital bag because I was like, I'll just use them at home. I don't want to like throw all these out. Um and and then like I noticed like, oh my gosh, like everything once even when we got home, like everything was so disposable for babies. And once again, I get it. It's like a combination of trying to be really like sterile and also convenient because parenting, especially a newborn, is tough and overwhelming. But I personally wanted to figure out slowly, I didn't want to overwhelm myself, ways to cut down on waste. So even before I ever got pregnant, my husband and I said we wanted to try cloth diapers because he hadn't even ever changed a diaper. So he was like, I just want to start with cloth because I don't want to be like, oh, disposable are just so much easier if I just start off with cloth and that's all I know, like whatever. So, so we got a whole bunch of cloth when I was pregnant, and we basically, except for in the NICU, we used disposable because they suggested that we did. And then when we got home, they were even like, oh, like maybe just get like newborn diapers because newborn poop is gross and you're gonna go through your cloth diapers like crazy. But we were kind of a little stubborn and we were like, no, we're just gonna do cloth. And I'm glad we did because it wasn't that hard. And we're still using cloth diapers for my son, and it's still not that hard. There's a misconception. It's not like, whatever olden school ones where you had to get like safety pins and do some crafty origami to get it on. They they're like exactly like disposable diapers, but they have cute patterns, and instead of throwing them in the diaper genie, you throw them in a laundry hamper, and we do the laundry once a day. And even that can be seen as wasteful, but I think even disposable diaper parents are doing the laundry a whole lot because children get stuff all over them. So that's one thing we've done, cloth diapers. Another thing with I was fortunate enough to be able to breastfeed, so that was as environmentally friendly as you can get for food. But beyond that, we did baby-led weaning, which we chose because we wanted to try out giving them different foods that we were eating, and eventually letting them have the same meal that we were having, but in smaller portions, for example. But we do get those pouches and like applesauce containers every now and then. And the pouches, what I recently started doing, so this is very recent, this is not something I've been doing all along. You can buy those pouches like reusable. So I got a package of them. There's like 10 in there, I think. And every day I make myself like a smoothie bowl as my afternoon snack, because I really want like chocolate, but I'm not going to have chocolate every day. So I make a smoothie bowl, and it's almost like having ice cream. So I trick myself into thinking that. So when I'm making that, I put some of it into those pouches, and then I freeze them, and the next day I'll take one or two out and let them thaw, and then my little one will have that as his snack when I'm having my smoothie bowl. And that works out really well, and so far it's been really easy, and he loves it. And I could put stuff like chia seeds and whatnot in there, and that's been great. um I mentioned that I breastfed, so I also pumped. That was when I wanted to have some milk left over for if somebody else was going to feed my baby. And, maybe like my husband or the grandparents or aunt or uncle, or, that sort of thing. Um, so instead of those bags that you get, which I know are super convenient, I got little mason jars, like about this big, and I made sure I had some really good lids. I got plastic reusable ones, because I find that sometimes the metal ones can get a little rusted, and I didn't want that to touch the breast milk at all. And then I froze those. I always made sure there was like a section of the freezer where I could stack those, and that was like no big deal at all. I know that the bags can take up less space if you are doing like a whole huge stash. I always had like maybe 8 to 10 of those little jars in the freezer. And we're fortunate enough that we have a second freezer, so taking up that little section of the freezer for the mason jars was not the hugest deal. We also have, for probably at least 10 years, have had reusable Ziploc bags. So we have silicone ones and plastic ones that are food grade. And we've used those for basically anything you would use Ziplocs for. And those have been so handy, and you can just throw them in your dishwasher if you have one. And they last for so long. Like I said, we've been at least using them for 10 years and no issue. We haven't even had to throw any out. So that's like how good they last. And yeah, we use a lot of jars. We use a lot of like food storage containers, glass ones, and plastic ones. I went through a phase where I only wanted glass ones, but my daughter is in kindergarten, and so glad we have some plastic ones, because that would have been a disaster if I sent her with glass ones. So keep that in mind if you are totally against plastic. Sometimes it is handy. other things I have done are instead of getting yogurt all the time for myself, I for years did my own kefir. And that's an undertaking as a mom. I have been on a hiatus since my son was born because, you have to, well, I don't know if you know, if you've ever made kefir, you have to strain the kefir grains every day, and what you strain is ends up being like a thicker, almost like milk, but it's fermented, and so that is what you consume, and it's full of probiotics. And I really, really, really loved having that. That was like something I would have every day, but I haven't been able to find the time to care for my kefir grains. So I have been on hiatus, but I am looking to get back into that. Um, and that is also something that like I kept up with it with my daughter, and then I would make smoothies with the kefir, and she loved that for the longest time. So healthy, and easy to do if you have it. You can even buy kefir, but then again, that's not being environmentally friendly, which is the aim of this video. And I think that's basically it. Like, we never, ever, ever, ever buy water bottles. We always have our own reusable water bottles around the house. And that was such a no-brainer to me. I almost forgot to mention it. Yeah, so I think my favorite of all of those is probably the reusable zip blocks. I would highly, highly recommend that. And we also have the silicone baking sheets. So we use that in place of parchment or aluminum when we can. And yeah, we try to put everything in the food waste and recycling as it belongs, and try to avoid putting as much in the trash as possible. And yeah, this year one of my New Year's resolutions was to the best of my ability, not buy any fast fashion. So I think I've stuck to that pretty well. I've hardly bought any clothes actually this year. Every year I try to be a little bit, like make a little change that can be lasting. And that's how I do my part. I'm curious if you have any environmentally friendly parenting sort of hacks. I'd love to get some tips. If there's anything I'm glaringly missing out on, I'd love to jump on the train. So let me know if you have any that I didn't mention, and I will definitely get in on that. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about any of the stuff I mentioned, please comment and we can chat about that. I'd love to help you if you are like me and you want to make a small lasting change every so often. I'd love to help you with that if you want to do any of the things I mentioned. All right, I hope to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.